In an attempt to roll back long-standing protections of the Civil Rights Act, the state of Texas has filed a lawsuit to deny employment to people with criminal records. The NAACP has filed a motion to intervene. One of the defendants in the case, Beverly Harrison, was dismissed from her job as a crossing guard in Dallas because of a criminal conviction more than 40 years ago. In 2012, the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission passed an enforcement guidance stating that barring job applicants with criminal records would discriminate against minorities because they are disproportionately convicted of crimes. Civil rights groups are concerned that the Justice Department under Jeff Sessions will not vigorously defend the Obama-era policy. Joining us to talk about this is Dariely Rodriguez, Director of the Economic Justice Project for the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights Under Law. Glad to have you on the show. So, when we say denying folks jobs for criminal records, is Texas essentially saying, if that's the case, if they want to get rid of you, go right ahead?
That's right. Essentially, Texas, in filing this lawsuit against the EEOC and in seeking to strip the EEOC of its authority to issue guidance to employers to help them use criminal background information when screening applicants, Texas is seeking a permission to deny people with criminal background information on their reports without taking into consideration how much time has elapsed since the conviction, whether or not the conviction is related to the job that they are seeking to fill, the age of the person when they committed the crime, whether that person has shown any evidence of rehabilitation. So essentially, Texas wants permission to be able to implement blanket bans against people with criminal records without really taking an individualized assessment of that person's entire resume or credentials.
And are we seeing folks, more than one person who lost their job? I mean, I just don't understand, again, the logic of not allowing people to be able to, I mean, you say on one hand, serve your time and then get back in society, but then now you want to hold that against them, especially somebody who was 40 years ago. That's
right. That's right. The Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights Under Law is watching this case very carefully because we believe deeply in the ability for people to obtain a second chance. And that's why we work so hard to tackle barriers that people with criminal backgrounds face when reentering not only employment but in other areas like education and housing. Just last month, we entered into an agreement with Glassdoor, which is a growing online job search recruitment website. They agreed, as a result of the work that we did, to update their terms of use to ensure that employers are not allowed to post ads on their website that unlawfully discriminate against people with criminal records. Glassdoor realizes that this is a pool of qualified individuals who are skilled, who have talents that are assets to the workplace. And people with criminal records, as we know, are disproportionately minority, blacks and Latinos, because of mass incarceration in this country, because of the high incarceration rates that we have. We know that blacks and Latinos are overrepresented not only in drug arrests, but also in the jail population. And so the EEOC guidance really seeks to ensure that employers are implementing any background checks in a responsible way and in a way that doesn't disproportionately harm people of color.
All right, got some questions for our panel there. First up, Brandon.
Oh yeah, I was just talking about, so we were talking during the break about how this issue, in Texas, is not limited to, political party or not like that. We're talking about the governor of Maryland, who's a Republican, who's been in the forefront of criminal justice reform and making sure that past records do not, prevent employment. So my question is just, are you seeing this as a national trend? Is it what happened in Texas isolated? And I guess what would be the solution, to kind of push back on these pockets of trying to rescind our rights?
Yeah, I think that it is a pocket. This is a bipartisan issue, and in recent years it has obtained growing bipartisan support. The EEOC's guidance was implemented with bipartisan support, and it's an issue that impacts the economy. It's it's common sense. It makes sense to let people with criminal backgrounds, or criminal records rather, re-enter the job market. It's great for public safety. Studies have shown that the most important factor in prohibiting, or rather deterring recidivism is stable employment. So it's good for the people with criminal records, it's good for their families, it's good for communities, and it's good for our economy.
Amber.
Yeah, so my question is, I know that a lot of people are being engaged in this subject through documentaries like 13th, where we have a clear layout that, one, mass incarceration is another term for our modern day slavery industry. People are serving time, and it's funding, probably a lot of our clothing is being made by slave labor. But also, what do you think people who are watching this, specifically Black people who know someone who is coming out of the prison system, what do you think it takes for us to see them as being valuable people of our community, or what can we do to help them be valuable, see them as valuable parts of our community, and usher them back into our communities and to our families?
I literally have 30 seconds for the answer. Go ahead.
Sure. I think that we need to support our community members, our family members, our brothers and sisters. We need to help them in their path to re-enter into society, whether that be, making connections to the workforce, providing them with recommendations to vouch for their ability to be good employees. Research has shown that people with criminal records are actually more loyal employees and stay in their jobs longer. And so I think that we just need to do our part to ensure that we support our family members, our community members, so that they can too succeed in the workplace and support not only themselves but their family members.
All right, we certainly appreciate it. Thank you so very much.
Weekdays on TV One.
I will never lie to you.
Oh my God.
Roland Martin.
He doesn't want to talk to us. He wants to ignore us.
Uncensored.
Hell no.
That ain't gonna cut it, boo.
Unapologetic.
No, that is fundamentally false. You are wrong.
He
Unfiltered.
wants an America where we all look alike. He ain't talking about Black people.
Unrelenting.
You better go work out, because you got a fight on your hands.
NewsOne Now with Roland Martin. Weekdays at 7 a.m. on TV One.